Hey guys, I don't make as many videos as I used to. Um, I just found out Michael Brooks died. My mom died when I was 13 years old in November 2003. She had a stroke. I was with my godparents, and I knew when my grandfather called us. I knew my life was going to change forever. And I cried the whole 2 hours or so back to Charlotte. I just cried and cried and cried and cried and cried and just cried. It's like I had the door open. That's why I got flies. I'm sorry. I just cried, and I cried so much that my head actually hurt. My grandfather died November of 2017. Well, 2016. I'm sorry. I was still on the road. I got off the road in January of 17, December, like that time. And I've had family members. Like I'm not like everybody else. Like I grew up in the South. I grew up with like Black Judaism and stuff, and so I've always been different. I've always questioned, always thought for myself, and that makes you stand apart when you're Black here in the South. And I've had friends. I had my Aunt Gloria May. We used to have discussions when I was a budding liberal. She knew about Bush, and she knew about the stuff they were doing, and we used to talk, and she wound up dying. And a part of me has always felt like anytime things get really good and I meet somebody, they die. My cousin KT, she got a doctorate in education and she got breast cancer and died. My mom, going back to that, she had a great job. She didn't want to get promoted because she had to travel and she couldn't be here with me and my grandfather. She was actually making plans to get a minivan for my grandfather. She was just such a selfless person. And I remember once, I can laugh about it as a grown man, that she was like, if I ever wanted to dress up, she had no problem with it. As in like a girl. I never done that. I don't do that now. It's in my interest. But it's amazing that even back in the early 2000s, she was accepting of whoever I was going to be. And I think about that sometimes. I don't want to be a woman. I'm all man. But the fact, for someone to love you, that means they love all of you. Love is never a request for silence, because then you don't love all of me. You love what I put in front of you. You don't love me for who I am and what I am. And I just felt like that for a long time, that anytime I get somebody or I get somewhere and life starts to, even out, someone dies. When my mom died, I lost my aunt, my uncle, Matthew Beatty. We called him Dad. I wasn't really close. He was kind of wrong with him, I think. Kind of cruel. And I lost my other uncle, L.C. Beatty. I think he fell on the steps or something. It was like somewhere else. I didn't know him that well either. Both of them died like shortly after. It was like all at the same time. Very creepy. November 2003. And I think now about how for all of them, my grandfather, my grandmother, Virginia Chess, my dad, L.C. Beatty, it's like I'm the only evidence they were even alive. And they impacted me. When I talk about not trusting banks and all that, that's an impact, the Great Depression. That's an impact directly on the man I am today. And I thank God, and every so often, I got everything in that storage unit. Every so often, I come across old Polaroids and stuff of them, and I treasure that shit. I treasure that shit like it's gold because they're gone. You know, they're gone. You know, my mom's high school diploma, my grandma's high school diploma. These things don't mean a lot to people. They mean a lot to me. I was a Republican. I was a libertarian for a long fucking time. You know, and really looking at me as an example of how if the Republican Party wasn't so harsh and didn't have the policies they had, that keep folks like me. Hard workers. I'm not a criminal. I'm not out here messing with nobody. I'm not out here trying to hurt nobody. But just the fact that they've been as harsh as they have been on a lot of policies, even before Trump, but especially with Trump, it's just a reminder that you lose people like me, the good people, who just can't do it. I was a libertarian until Charlottesville, and I just knew in my heart, like, yo, like, this isn't right. A president shouldn't do this. A president shouldn't stand. I guess I was waiting for someone somewhere to stand up and say, we are not a country of racists. And, you know, just like the first George Bush did with the NRA. You know, like, I kept expecting that compassionate conservatism, and, you know, I expected Mitch McConnell, somebody to stand up and say something, and I realized now they could never do that because that's not what the Republican Party is. They're playing by a different set of rules in a different city and different state, and that's period. You know. I started following liberal people like I think it was like around March when I was home and stuff, and I started hitting on this stuff, and I was like looking at it was Pac-Man first, and you know, Majority Report and all this stuff, and you know, all of those people have their own little hustle, their own little money making operation outside of YouTube, outside of all this stuff, because all those social media, all that stuff is just to get attention, and I understand that they got their hustle, and I'm not even against that. Michael Brooks was different. I've never listened to nobody like him before. And let me tell you something. He gives me hope. You know, I've spoke before about white folks out here marching and protesting and getting beat up and shot. And you had people shot in the face. You had the dude in Portland got shot and he's still in the coma, I think. People losing eyes. I think one guy got shot in the crotch with a beanbag or something. They keep damage the testicle. People are there. This isn't just about taking time off work. You're risking your life. They're shooting at press. What would they do to you? I watched them beat a press cameraman in front of the White House. And I've spoke plenty of times before at work with people about how I am really humbled. I'm not here to kneel. I'm not here to kneel white. I'm not here to kneel to you white men. I'm not here to wash your feet, wipe your feet. I'm not here to kiss your ass. None of that. I'm not none of that. But I am significantly humbled. As Sam Cedar said it, you know, that white people have gotten somewhat better. They get it. And there's also understanding that hurting black people and brown people will not make the plight of white people better. Michael Brooks understood that, and he understood that we all rise together. And he also understood the internationalist point of view, that we can't just say bring the jobs back to America and fuck the rest of the world, and that we as workers should have rights, but the people overseas should too. They take the job somewhere else. We all have inherent value, and he inspired it in me. Michael is the first person. He's the only person that I ever was like, dude, I just got a new job. Okay, this is July the 20th. Pandemic happened back in March. That's when it first hit. And the end of March, beginning of April got really bad for me. Like I got like 8 hours 1 week. It was bad. Really bad. And so there's jobs hitting here and there. I ain't work California, nothing like that. No big money. And so I got this flatbed gig, and I'm just now getting evened out. And what I mean by that is to where paying my bills without any fees, pay my bills ahead of time, pay my bills a week ahead of time now. Which is what you want. You want that's what you do. That's budgeting. You know, you go ahead, you got to pay a check. Go ahead and pay those bills next week now. I got this job back June the 12th, and it is July the 20th. So I'm really just not getting settled. So I looked at Pac-Man. He's cool. He's very intelligent. He's not really internationalist though. He's not a socialist either. Tim Black, to me, is more of a comedian. Jimmy Dore would never get a dollar out of my money. Yeah, Jamal Thomas, I listened to him, but I never really was like, you know what I mean? Like, we're similar in a lot of ways, but no. Michael Brooks touched me in a way nobody else on YouTube has ever touched me. And it's hard to explain that. I used to be like, dude, I used to be a libertarian. I keep talking about it. I need to show you guys. I've got Ron Paul's book in my storage unit. I probably got it in here somewhere. I've got Freewheeling for Capitalism. I was a libertarian, goddammit. I was getting ready to buy gold. Like, I was a conservative. Like, do away with Department of Education, do away with all that. That was me not long ago. And now I'm listening to Michael Brooks talk to me about, you know, what Bernie represented and what the time is and integral politics and accelerationism. And it's just, he has really been a moving force in my life. Almost, I looked at him as a young Chomsky. And, you know, when I first saw this, that he had died, he had passed, I'm like, man, you know, it's crazy. Because I wasn't even watching, like, Majority Report. Like, I would watch Michael Brooks. Like, when he put, like, 15 minutes, I would watch this shit. Like, during the day, I would listen to his shit. Like, that, you know, Jamal Thomas, I watched that, too. That's pretty good. During the work day. And then Democracy Now! Sometimes. And On Contact comes on like on the weekends when I'm in here cleaning up and stuff. I listen to Majority Report when it's stuff I want to hear. I'd save it and I'll watch it later or something. But it's very rare for me to watch Majority Report like they just put something out. It's very rare for me because they put out stuff about things I don't care about. You know, the immigrants and stuff like that. I don't care about that stuff. Not really. So I didn't watch the show today. I didn't watch the Majority Report. I didn't watch the show yesterday either on the week. Well, yesterday was weekend. I didn't watch the Friday show. I didn't. I might watch like a couple of shows a week. 2 or 3 shows out a week. And I don't watch the whole day. And so I didn't know. And they're saying it may have been pulmonary embolism, which would have been a quick death. He probably didn't even know about it himself. See, one thing on Michael Brooks, too, and Majority Report, is that they're not just, like, on point. Michael Brooks put it in me to understand the times in which we live. And Michael Brooks put it upon me to understand, like, who A. Philip Randolph was, who Henry Wallace was. You had a white man in the White House in 1942 saying, yes, we should defeat fascism abroad. We should also defeat fascism at home. and that we need to have the women working in the factories keep their jobs. That the blacks that had got these keep their jobs as well. That we need to pay people overseas who build stuff for us, like a fair wage. Like, I wouldn't have known this without Michael Brooks. Like, he did a God damn, it's fucking history. All this shit is history now. I've got a fucking playlist with him on it, and it's all history. And now I've got to probably download it and put it on a flash drive now. I'm gonna go back and watch every video he ever did, and it's just amazing to me because the dude was a funny dude. He was a funny dude, but I don't think he understood the people that he inspired. And I don't think any of us know. They don't know, none of us know the time. You know, the time is not promised for any of us. For none of us. None of us are promised tomorrow. It's just, God damn, I didn't think I would cry. I didn't think I would cry thinking about this man, but he is one of the only political thinkers that I was actually going to spend my money in his stuff. I mean, like, all the other crap, all the other stuff that I look at didn't really matter, you know? Tim Black and all that. And that stuff was like, if they put out something I like, I might watch a few minutes of it. But Michael Brooks is one of the only people. And see, Michael. You know, people I work with think I'm an intellectual or something like that. And I always say, I'm not intellectual. I'm just blessed to have people I'm able to follow. And I'm just blessed to be able to attempt to get on the wavelength that they're giving me. And now I've lost somebody. I've lost a great man that I respected. It's a video. There was a woman from Vox that talked about how, you know, if you're looking at politics, you're talking about Obama. If your name is in your mouth, you're doing it wrong. And Michael Brooks went in on her explaining how this is demented. Like, basically that if you're not understanding history, you won't understand why America is where it's at. And now I know with what's the thing called the NDAA 2012 that Obama set up, that all this kind of stuff, that all these things really set it up to where Trump could get power. And this is the danger in anybody creating these type of overarching structures of power, is that eventually you get a fascist like Trump who abuse their power. And he just explained, he went in so clearly, and he laid it out, and it wasn't personal. He wasn't disrespectful. It wasn't no disrespect. It was just saying that, dude, you got to understand who Henry Wallace was. You got to realize who A. Philip Randolph was. You have to realize what the race covenants. You have to understand everything that led up to the times that we're living in. How communities have been wrecked and destroyed, and how they barely been surviving for decades. Honestly, Michael Brooks gave me hope. Because I live in the South, and I work with some racist ass crackers. I work with some. I drove over the road for 3 years of my life, and I've dealt with some racist ass motherfuckers. And I've joked that Michael Brooks was more of a black man than I am, and I was saying he was. God damn. Because I realized that it isn't about race; it really is about class. And he was trying to get that out there, you know. And I said it, that people like him, they the ones that end the riots. They the ones that do that.
It's an understanding. Going back to what I said before, that hurting black people does not help working class white people. If your whole thing as a white man is to say, I'm gonna do this, that, and the other to hurt blacks because it makes me feel good, that is not gonna help your class, or excuse me, you as a man, your family as a man. That's not gonna help. And Michael Brooks understood that. I was just having a fucking conversation today with a gentleman I work with. And I told him how there's so many people that have died this year, in the last couple of years. And I told him how I fear the left, that we're losing our intelligentsia. You know, I wish I had a list for you right now to give you, but I don't. But it's just a lot of, great, intelligent people on the left have passed. And I didn't understand that when I was younger, that life is fragile. Life is fucking fragile, and tomorrow is not promised to nobody, goddammit. Be thankful for every breath you get. Be thankful for every conversation. And sometimes, just let people know you appreciate them sometimes, goddammit. Just give people their respect, man. Because you don't know what they're going through, and you don't know if you'll see them tomorrow. All that stuff's on YouTube. I can look it back up. Like, just think about other people in my life I've had that I didn't spend time with, and I worried that I didn't let them know I appreciate them for who and what they were and for what they did for me. Not for money, not for fame, not for acclaim, not for proof, for none of that shit, but because I love you as an individual, because I appreciate you. God, I wish I had done that. I don't have a lot of people in my life. I don't have a lot of family. The family I do have, they're pretty hateful. I've got a brother that's very hateful. Very hateful. He's a Trump supporter. I never knew that man's a deep homophobe. Like advocating for murder. I never knew he felt like that. I haven't talked to him in months. I'm talking to him since April. I didn't know, other things. My dad felt the same. I didn't know so I don't talk to them. And I realized that's a South Florida thing. I don't have no contact with my dad anyway. But I don't have a lot of people I care about. And that's why when I talk about COVID-19, I talk about the things, I talk about them in a parallel way, because I don't really care. I don't care about people who don't want to wear masks. I don't care about people who want to walk around here and act stupid. But Michael Brooks, he touched me as a man. He influenced me as a man. God damn it. His story has ended. And I feel like he just wrote his book, Against the Web, The Cosmopolitan Left. I got to buy his book now, guys. I was actually thinking about buying his book. And I'm a lurker. I go on survivalist boards. I go on Police One. I go on a lot of different websites because I want to get a deep understanding of the world I live in, the enemies as well as my allies. And I've never, ever felt the way I feel about Michael Brooks, about his show, that this is somebody I wanted to support because I believed in what he was talking about. And I respect Majority Report, but I've never listened to a white man like that, who was so in-depth, who had such understanding and such a keen insight into how a rising tide raises all ships. He was a different leftist. And I'm not going to lie. There's a lot of videos out there to where half of what he talks about I don't understand. But I'm thankful to have had a chance to be a part of what he did. And in a way, I feel like this is going to inspire me to be better as a man. Going back to what I began this with, it's a childhood thing that everybody I get close to dies. Everybody I love dies. If they're good for me, if they're positive, they die. Nothing good stays. Nothing good stays. Nothing, I haven't been touched like this in a long time. In a long time. But, you know what I mean? Nobody's touched my heart like this. And it's just amazing that with a pandemic going on, that with all these lives being lost, this is the first time in probably years that I've cried for somebody. It's a real reminder that tomorrow not promised, not to anybody. My prayers go out to his family, to his loved ones, significant others, if he had any children, I don't know. Jeez, I might have to put some money towards, like, if he has a Patreon, anything, dude. I can tell you, once I get straight, like that illicit history, I'm gonna get all. I might get this book and put it up on my bookshelf. Even if I can't understand half of it. I'm not a college graduate. As I said earlier, I am not an intellectual at all. And I know it, and I'm not trying to pretend to be one, not by any means whatsoever. But this man touched my life. He touched the lives of others, and I hope he rests in peace, man. He has slipped the bonds of this world and moved on to the next. He's one of the only liberals like that I know that talked about spirituality on the left. Like, he was a leader. Like, I look at people like him and Max Blumenthal, like that, and I'm like, dude, these are our intellectual juggernauts. Like, this is the next leaders. And so when they die like this, it bothers me. It hurts my heart. It disturbs my spirit. Thank you for listening. I didn't mean to sit here and cry and blubber. That wasn't my intention, but Michael Brooks gave me hope. He gave me hope for a better society, but it also gave me an understanding of the past and the importance of learning the past, successes and failures of the labor movement, the importance of a strong, united labor movement, and what all that could mean as far as future goals. I'm going to miss him. I'm going to miss his voice. I'm going to miss his jokes. I'm going to miss his impressions. I'm going to miss the chemistry. I mean, I'm going to tell you something. I think I'm weird. So I don't say things because I don't want to weird people out. The last month or two, when I would watch Michael Brooks and the two guys, Matt Christmas and another guy, I used to think to myself, like, they're so close. I think majority report to lesser extent, but they're so close that those guys probably know what each will say, and like I'll say this, you know what I'm gonna say before I say it. And I just thought about how, like, they've been doing that so long that they know each other that intimately. And I just thought about how, like, they'll just live forever. Like that's just the way things are, that he'll just, Michael Brooks, all these guys will live forever, and not that they have a piece of him. Because if you know me well enough to finish my sentences, that means you know me. You have a part of my essence. You know who I am. It ain't just talk. Something I've said or imparted to you has touched you.
And you always hold that in your heart. And I don't know. I had been thinking about that, like, you know, like how these guys must have known each other for a very long time and all this stuff. And now he's dead. It's like this fucking pandemic. I remember looking and hearing about a pandemic last year, like October or November. I kept looking up stuff and hearing like talk about the little pandemic. Like this year, I haven't wanted to say it because I'm a prepper. This has been a major test for me, but 2020 it's been a shit year. This has been a horrible year. And now I've lost one of my great teachers. I was talking about what it means for the left to lose our great intelligentsia, like Maya Angelou, like we could lose RBG, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. You know what that means. Whether you like her or not, that means Trump will be able to get a Republican shoved in there, a young Republican. Terrifying thought. They could roll back, get gay marriage, could roll back a lot of stuff. I was thinking about that the other day. I was talking about it, excuse me. Just we're losing people, Cornel West, he's up there in age, he goes out to protests and stuff, and I just, Minister Farrakhan, he's up there in age. I just think about it that, like, these people, they are, and I've been thinking about this for a long time, that they need protection. All these great intellectual thinkers, they need protection because the right is saying that they are willing to use violence. They're beyond talking. They're beyond reasoning, and they are ready to do violence. There's a judge who just got her husband and her son killed. And then Michael Brooks dies the very next day. After I was thinking about that. This is a bad time. It's a Chinese proverb that talks about not using good nails to build a house, which is to say you don't use your good nails to do rough work. You use common nails. I'm a common nail. I am not intellectual. Michael Brooks was a good nail. Peace.